Hi guys, welcome back to OC Aviary. I'm Oliver, and in today's video we're going to be revisiting some of the birds in the bird room that we haven't seen over the past few weeks. The young birds have almost completed, if not some of them have completely done in the molt. So we've got fully sort of current year bird, fully malted out youngsters now, which we're going to take a look at in red polls and green finches. So we're going to have a look at those guys. We're going to see the progress of the other youngsters and some of the adult birds throughout the molt. We're going to talk about sexing the young red polls, which I initiated a few weeks ago, so we can have a look in today's video. We're going to get some baths on for the birds. We're going to get well, I've actually got a new supplement which I'm going to show you guys, which I'm going to try. So I'm not going to say the name of it, just because I want to make sure all is good before I go recommending it to everyone. And you know, just giving you guys my thoughts on the products. And then we're going to just go from there. And I've also got a little something else I want to show you, which I did a few days ago. So we'll probably go to that first. Okay, so I was on holiday in Devon about a week ago or so, and I was just lucky enough that when I went to Slapton Lee, as it's called, in the sort of south side of Devon, there was actually some guys in a car park there with a van and a tray out and just a few different things. And I saw that they had some binoculars, and they were actually catching swifts. So I was a bit skeptical at first, thinking, what have I stumbled upon here? Not people trying to catch birds to sell on, but actually I found something quite interesting. So I'm going to play the clip now. Got it, Dad?
Yes, I have.
Put it out the right way.
This is Oliver releasing a juvenile swallow on its migratory route to South Africa.
Point in that way so it doesn't go in the car.
In months to come.
Brilliant, thank you very much.
So what I did there is actually release a swallow. It was a young swallow, which was not long since left the nest. It was a young bird anyway. It hadn't molted out, and I found something out is that swallows don't molt out until they actually go to the place in Africa where they'll overwinter. So this particular swallow was actually supposed to be going to Cape Town, I believe, in South Africa. So it's on its journey there now, and that was a quick video of me actually releasing it after having a chat with the people who were running it and ringing the bird, which was obviously a split ring. The BTO, I believe, who was doing it, we released that, and I just thought it's something interesting and nice to show you guys, a bit of something different which I've not done before. And yeah, it was actually quite a nice experience. So hopefully you enjoyed that anyway, and maybe you've done something like that before, and it was just quite nice to see what's going on. So now in the molt, one of the most essential things, as we spoke about in the Molt Essentials video, is multivitamins. And what I've done is actually found a different product which I'd like to give a try. And it's from a chap local to me who buys concentrated versions of what we need and sells it on in the concentrated version. I'm not going to show the label, so I'm going to hold it this side, but this is a multivitamin. It's very, very concentrated, and it only needs 1 ml for 2 litres of water. So it's in liquid form. I just thought we're going to give it a go. I picked it up off him from today. It wasn't very much money anyway, and I just thought we'll give it a go. We'll try it on the birds and we'll see how they come out. And if all going well, I'll do an update on that in a few weeks in a different video. I'll show you the link, and hopefully it's something that you might find useful. So let's get into the water for the birds now. So quite easily, that is our water done for the birds. It's got the multivitamin in it, as you can see there. It's quite concentrated. It's very dark, as you can see anyway, so it's pretty good. And that's 100 ml, and that's, it's barely taken any out. That's 2.5 millilitres in this jug, and that's 5 litres of water. So let's hope it works. We're going to get it into the drinkers now for the birds. And I've also done the same with the Chlorophyll Red for the young red polls, which we're going to talk about soon, as well as the adult cock red polls. So the water is now complete. We've got the new vitamin supplement in there, and hopefully it works well. The birds have been responding well to the multivitamins. Touch wood, we haven't lost any yet in the mould, which is great. But yeah, touch wood, let's hope that we don't. I really hope not anyway, because we've got some lovely looking birds. So red polls, let's talk about sexing the red polls. You know, specifically the young birds. We know the sex of the adult birds, we've got them in here, we know that. So it's these guys. We've got cinnamons, we've got agates, we've got the odd one that's like a cobalt thing. I don't really know what to say it is. We've got normals and we've got more cobalts down below as well. So what I did about 2 weeks ago was I got some of the, well, I got all of the red polls actually, other than that I knew were definitely hens, because they were sex linked, which are there. We've got a brown pastel hen and a cinnamon hen in there. I know the hens, no argument about that. So I've got those guys, I know they're hens, and I've got these ones that I don't know. What I've done is I've took each bird and I've plucked a few chest feathers from it for the ones that were pretty much already molted out. For some of the others, they're not fully molted, so I'm going to, you know, I don't really have to pluck the chest feathers of them. I might do a few if they need it, but anyway, I did it a few weeks ago and then put them on chlorophyll, and what that does is it allows those chest feathers to regrow with the chlorophyll in. I had the chlorophyll in 3 days prior, so it was in their system, so when I plucked the feathers would then begin to regrow with the chlorophyll in them. If the chlorophyll's in them and they're cock red polls, the chest feather will come out the rose red colour, and if they're not and they're hens, then it will grow through normally. Now I would say this is not almost guaranteed. There is some birds where you would say it's 100% a cock and it's a hen with a really good feather, which is almost like a yellow feathered red poll, and then other times you will get it where it just doesn't go in and you're just going to have to do it again. You might do it a second time, pluck the chest feathers, and they'll come out bright red when the first time they came out just normal, as though it was indicating a hen. So I will do it again just to be sure. You know, there's some that are plain and obvious that they're cocks, some that I'm pretty certain are hens, but I'll do it again just to make sure. Hopefully that's in time for Stafford, because I do have a few birds I've got to take to Stafford for a few friends who've got some reservations on them. But you know, I can't go, you know, moving on too much stock yet, unless I know that I'm not going to be using it next year, because I can't sacrifice next year. But I do know there's a few birds that can't be staying for whatever reason, whether I'm not going to focus on that mutation or what have you. So that's what I've done with the red polls, and we do have a few that are showing as cocks and a few that are shown as hens, so we'll give it a go. But hopefully that's useful and you guys can maybe adopt that technique. I know some people already do it anyway, that's where I've learned it from, and hopefully it works. Now that we've done that with the red polls and we've talked about how to sex them, we're going to get a few of them in show cages, and we're going to take a look at some of the birds that we've bred this year. So we're going to do that with the young red polls first. We're going to visit the adult cock red polls, and we're going to see the effect that the chlorophyll's having on them and seeing how red they are. And there's a particular cock bird in there which I have a feeling you might love, which is a mutation cock red poll that we got in from last year. And it's just taking colour so well, it looks amazing. And then from there we will take a look at the green finches, and we'll see how those youngsters are doing, both the pies and the normals. So the first red poll we're going to look at is this young cinnamon. Now this was bred from the cinnamon hen, who's the daughter to the World Show Silvers from the 2020 World Show. So obviously this is the granddaughter. Now it looks a good bird, to be honest, with the shape and the size. She's cobby, she's quite steady as well. However, a few little faults I've noticed on this bird. She has just about finished the molt. However, I did just pluck a few breast feathers just for sexing. I'm pretty sure it's a hen, but I just want to check that. But the fault I've noticed is the white flight feathers. Something you don't want on the cinnamons is those white flight feathers, because that's not how they're supposed to be. But it's still, nevertheless, it's a lovely bird. I mean, as you can see, she's quite steady to the point where she doesn't really want to move, even if I'm got my hand up against the cage. But overall, looks a nice bird, and hopefully should develop into something even better. Next up we have this agate red poll. Now this is, I believe, a cock bird. After doing a few chest feather checks from obviously the original attempt to start sexing them. I believe this is a cockbird. It's got some red coming through just near the throat on its feathers, obviously. So this looks a nice bird. It's got some good markings on the flanks. Not steady right now, but this is the first time in a show cage, so not to be, not to be expected. Slight little fault is I would like that crown to be red rather than the orange, but that's only minor. And this was bred from a normal split cinnamon, split agate, split Isabelle cockbird, so and split pastel. So this is looking a nice bird anyway. Its mother was a brilliant feeder, obviously a great mother. So I'm kind of hoping that even though it's a cockbird, if we are to keep this bird, then it will do some good feeding duties if we do breed off it, which would be nice. But overall, that's it's an alright bird. Could do with a bit more size, and cobbiness, but other than that, it's a bird which might be staying on for the future, but I'm not sure whether I will be moving into more agates yet or not. Next up, we have got this normal red poll. Now, I believe this is a cockbird, and something immediately that catches your eye on this bird is the markings on the flanks. It looks got to have some great markings on the flanks. It's well defined, quite dark, and actually quite a well stud bird. Could do with a bit more cobbiness, but it is young, so we can try and get a little bit more weight on it, and hopefully it comes through well. But this looks a nice bird, and I am really pleased that we've bred something like this. It's got good colour as well. I would say that this is a yellow bird, and I think it does kind of represent the true lesser in that it is a small bird. It's not as big as the cinnamon we've previously seen, and it just looks a decent bird, and I do like how it's developing. But let's not hold our breath, because as we know, in the molt, birds can look brilliant one week and be completely different the next. So I'm not going to hold my breath on this one, but I do like the look of this bird and how it's coming out so far. We do have a few more that are similar to this, but this, I would say so far, this seems to be the best one currently. But yeah, either way, a lovely normal lesser red poll, and hopefully might make a nice show bird for the 2021-2022 show team. So as we spoke about in previous episodes, I've got a line of cobalt red polls that are from, well, they're from the same line as that won the World Show Gold in 2020. So we've got a good few red polls in, both as the cinnamons that came second and the cobalts that came first. And what we've got here is a cobalt that I've bred this year. I bred 3 this year. It's just the standard single factor cobalts, and we've seen a change in these birds from the birds we've previously bred, and how they've changed this year. And I'd say what we've kind of swapped is the darkness for markings on the flanks. We've got a very dark looking cobalt hen who I didn't manage to breed off this year, sadly. We did breed off the mother of these guys, who was a very dark bird, and sadly, obviously, that real darkness hasn't passed through, but the cobalt has. So we've got some good markings on the flanks, and we've kind of gone a step forward and a step back at the same time, in that the markings are there but the colour isn't. So I think where we'll be looking for next year is that we'll be getting one of these birds, hopefully one of them's a cockbird of the 3 we've bred, to put back to one of the dark cobalts, so we get double and single factors. And we have got a few cobalts in anyway. We've got the grandfather of this bird still here, so it could end up where we maybe put him to one of his granddaughters, and this would probably be his last year in the 2022 season. But this is the cobalt. It's looking alright, but I wouldn't say I'd take this to a show and expect it to do anything, because it simply isn't dark enough. So this is the final young red poll we're going to look at, and you probably anticipated that this bird was going to come up, and it's a bird that I've really took a liking to since breeding it, because it was something different. And what you've got here is a brown pastel red poll. Now, I would have to really compare it to other examples, and There are a few examples, but I've not really seen many in person. But what I love about this bird is the rich, nutty brown, almost like a cinnamon cobalt looking brown on the chest. And then obviously we've got the white wings and the head, and it's all barred all nicely. And I really like this bird. It's something different, and I'm really looking forward to having this. And thankfully, I've got its father that's split brown pastel. So we will probably end up putting her back to her father to hopefully breed brown pastels in cocks and hens, as well as any other birds that would be bred would really probably be split for it. And anyway, so that's our brown pastel, and we might. Well, I do have a certain idea of a friend who's actually lined me up a normal pastel that's split brown pastel, which is unrelated, which would be ideal because what we're bringing in is new blood to put into the brown pastel line to keep it not too close, and obviously just to make sure that the birds are healthy. There's nothing wrong really with putting father to daughter, but if I can try and space that out a bit more, that's what I'll be looking to do. But either way, I really like the look of this bird. I mean, it's fantastic. It is a little bit jumpy. It could do with steadying down a bit on the perches and get off the front, but that's nothing we can't fix in time. So there you are. That is the last young red poll we'll be looking at for the day. So I did mention we were going to look at the adult cock red polls, and there's an individual bird that I want to bring your attention to, and that is this bird here. This is an Isabelle red poll. It's an over-year cock bird. It was bred in 2020, and he is looking fantastic with the carophil. I mean, he's only halfway through the molt. There's plenty more plenty more feathers to lose, but he's looking brilliant, and I just think that's a lovely looking bird with the rose chest with the white contrast. So anyway, that's the bird I wanted to show you as a bit of something different again, and something that perhaps you don't have in your bird room. So hope you like that bird anyway, and give us a thumbs up if you do like that bird, and I hope you do. So now onto the greenfinches. We have the first one is the pied greenfinch, or one of the pied greenfinches we bred this year, which is the capped bird, aptly named Gaza by Tom Logan, I believe, when we was discussing the pieds. So there you are. That is the first one of the pied greenfinches we've bred. It turns out that all of the greenfinches we've bred from the pieds have actually turned out to be hens. So we've got an awful lot of pied hens, none of which will be staying for next year, just because I've got other ideas as how we're going to improve the pieds, and that comes from the amazing, the very nice cock bird which Mark Ponting kindly donated to us in about March time, who we've bred quite a few youngsters off. So I'm hoping we'll develop the pines through those instead, so we get that better size and quality, and hopefully some yellow birds in there. But that's one of the pieds. It's looking all right. It's not a huge bird, but it's not small either. Yes, it's sort of mid-sized. It's got some cobbiness to it, but it's not there as an exhibition bird at the moment anyway. So it's going to take a few more years until the pieds are at that point. But there you are. That's one of our pied greenies. So this is then from one of the better birds, which is it's from Mark Ponting's line. The Evans and Ponting line of greenies. So this is a young cock bird. It's not a buff bird, I wouldn't say, but I wouldn't say it's a yellow. I'd say it's an intermediate, to be honest. But it's got a little bit of finishing off to do. It's nearly there, but it's a little bit scraggy, just on the underneath, and it just needs to fill out its tail feathers. Obviously, steadiness has been bred into these birds very well, and you can see, I mean, he's steady as anything, and I've got my hand up to the front of the cage. He's working the perch as well. This is the first time in a show cage, by the way. He's got the cobbiness and size, but the colour, I mean, it's a buff bird, to be honest. This, or sorry, it's an intermediate, really. It's not the yellow that we think of. So yeah, but anyway, that's the bird, and overall I'd say he's looking well, he's looking nice, but he's just got some more to really get finished, you know, before we go really looking at him and judge him and saying, well, is he staying, is he going, will he be in the show team or what. So we'll see as he finishes the molt. Obviously they're all on multivitamins anyway, so it shouldn't be too long. And this is actually one of the first round youngsters from they jumped the nest the end of April, I think, or just after, so not far off finished, this bird. So this is the sister to the previous bird, and obviously this is actually a nestmate as well, and I'd say she's completed the molt now, but this is looking a nice green finch hen. She's got a good sized head, she's got some size to her, some real size to her, and the cobbiness, and you can just when I held her to get her in the show cage, you can feel the size difference of these compared to the smaller type greenies, and just how much they've increased in size, and just almost feeling the quality of that bird. But she's a lovely looking bird. She's obviously, steadiness has been bred into them, as I said previously, and she's working the perch as well, and overall just a fantastic looking greenfinch, one that I'm very pleased to own and have bred, and hopefully I can't see why this bird wouldn't be able to stay on next year. I mean, we're looking at 5 pairs of greenfinches next year, across normals and pieds. So overall a nice bird. I'm happy with it, and we'll see how they develop within the coming weeks, and if she will be staying on for next year. With the youngsters in show cages now covered, and we've looked at a few of the birds that have caught my eye over the past few weeks, and obviously there's plenty more, but we can't look at every single bird. There's too many, and it would take a very long time. So we'll just have a look round at everything else. So my canary room looks like a pillow's exploded. We've got feathers everywhere. All of the adult canaries and the Norwich, the new colours, the fives have began molting quite heavily. The goldfinches began molting. The youngsters are finishing the molt, and some just beginning with some of the late bred birds. So it's looking quite a mess in that bird room. The flights, well, the greenfinch flights, they're just full to the brim with greenfinches. I can't put any more really in there, so we've had to overflow some more youngsters into a different flight on this block. And that includes an agate greenfinch we bred from a pied split agate. So it could be an agate pied, but a dark pied, or it could literally just be an agate hen. So we'll take a look at that bird now, and it's just something different. So those guys are in a different flight with a few more late bred greenies. So there's 6 in there. We've got the crossbills, bullies and goldfinches mid-molt now. They're pulling the colour through from the Cantacs, and then obviously we've visited this bird room. We've looked at youngsters, we've looked at some cockbirds. The hens are doing fine, and then as you can see just here, we've got a goldfinch mule. I don't know if it's a cock or a hen, but whatever it is, it's looking fantastic. It's began molting. It's pulling some of the red, the chlorophyll through now, and fingers crossed it's a cockbird. Let's hope it's a cockbird. I've got Switty playing occasionally anyway in here, so if it is, hopefully it's finch struck, and all going well it will be anyway. So there you are. That is the update for the progress of the molt so far, as we have the early, the start of September. We'll have a live stream up soon, so you'll be watching this possibly on Saturday. The live stream will be on Sunday evening, so I hope you will enjoy that. Please make sure you join. It'll be on my Instagram, Facebook, and obviously YouTube, where we'll be going live. So hopefully you guys do enjoy that, and it would be nice to see as many of you there as possible. Anyway guys, that does bring us to the end of this week's video, so I hope you've enjoyed it and found some useful tips, just like how to sex the red poles and different things I'm doing throughout the molt. Hopefully you've enjoyed looking at some of my birds as well that we've bred this year. Most of them have finished the molt for the first rounders. Some are just getting there to the end, and then obviously we do have some of the later rounds not even, yeah, they've only just began to molt. So give it a month or so and it'll be a completely different landscape. The birds will all look different and hopefully it's nice. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.